Whether new shooter, longtime gun owner, or even police officer or soldier, your handgun needs a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Crimson Trace.
I'm a gun owner.
Your views, advice, and questions are the driving force of Gun Talk.
I don't think that guns are scary things.
Visit us online at www.guntalk.com. Call Tom now at 866-TALK-GUN, 866-825-5486. Let us know what you think about the gun-related issues of the day. Now, back to Gun Talk.
Sometimes a story comes out that you just can't believe. By the way, welcome back. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk. You can join us, 866-TALK-GUN. You can shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. You can join us at Twitter. I'm at Gun Talk. Sometimes a story breaks and you scratch your head and you go, that can't be right. There's something I'm missing here. That just doesn't make any sense. And the more you hear, the more bewildering it gets. And in this case, in this particular story, the more you hear, the more infuriated you get. We're talking about the story of Brian Aitken. He's the author of a new book, The Blue Tent Sky, How the Left's War on Guns Cost Me My Son and My Freedom. Brian, how are you, sir?
Hi, I'm surprisingly doing pretty well, all things considered.
All things considered. I guess for those that may not have followed the story, can you give them the cliff notes on what happened here, how you got yourself, or I say you got yourself, I'm using that euphemistically, how you were arrested and charged and tried and literally sent to prison with a sentence of 7 years. What the heck happened here?
Yeah, the short version is that I was going through a divorce and I was packing up all my things to move into a new apartment, and my visitation with my son had been canceled for the fourth week in a row. And I told my mom I didn't know what the point of being there in New Jersey was if I wasn't able to see my son. I just moved from Colorado to be closer to him. Mm-hmm. And after I left the house, she was a trained social worker, so she thought about what did I mean when I said I didn't see the point in being there. She thought about that for like 15 minutes. And then she called 911 and hung up the phone before anybody answered. Mm-hmm. But that was enough for the police to come out for an abandoned 911 call. And really, the police were only interested in whether or not I owned guns. And that kind of became like the only conversation. There was no conversation about my well-being or if I was okay or anything of that nature. And in the book, I go into a lot more detail about that. But ultimately, through a really bizarre sequence of events, they search my car. They don't know what to do with the guns because they kind of think that these laws that I'm telling them about might actually exist, but they don't know what the gun laws are. And you actually, these are police officers.
Right, but you know the law. That's the thing. You do know the law.
I do. I called the New Jersey State Police 3 days before I moved to find out what exactly do I have to do. And if you look at the arrest report, it looks like a copy and paste job from the state exemption to say how you're supposed to transport your firearms, locked and unloaded in the trunk of your car. Mm-hmm. So I get arrested. They originally arrested me for illegal possession of unregistered firearms. And I had to explain to them that wasn't actually a crime because it's no registration law in New Jersey. So then, while I was still in handcuffs, thanks to my generosity, they changed the charges against me to illegal possession of firearms, illegal possession of hollow-point ammunition, and illegal possession of high-capacity magazines. And we're talking about standard-issue magazines, come in the box with your firearm kind of things.
Right.
I was offered about a dozen plea deals. They were all 5 years with a 1-year mandatory minimum. And I refused all of them. And the judge was pretty upset at me because I wouldn't take a plea deal. And at one point he told me I was a young man. I was only 25 years old. It was only a year, and I'd do 1 year in prison. I'd get right out, and I'd bounce right back. It wouldn't be a big deal. And I doubted that he would give that advice to his son. and I refused all the plea deals.
Mm-hmm.
And in family court, I had just gotten, kind of like the creme de la creme of custody situations worked out, where I was able to see my son, pretty much whenever I wanted. And right. I had gone to the court and explained that, my wife had been withholding my parenting time, and she was actually really friendly and agreeable, and wound up sanctioning my former wife a little bit, and giving me time with my son to make up for all the time that I'd missed. So things were actually looking really good. And
right up until the time you got arrested, yeah.
Yeah, and then after I'm indicted on these nonviolent, victimless, ridiculous charges, the family court judge takes all of my custody away from my son, and to this day, I'm unable to see him because he wasn't convinced that if I wanted to own firearms, I wouldn't be able to, that there would be nothing to stop me. And
wait. So you can't have your son because you have the constitutional right to get firearms?
Yeah, that was pretty much his opinion.
Whoa.
And there's really no oversight in family courts. So I tried challenging it. I was unsuccessful. Even after, so eventually I go to prison because the judge refused to let the jury know what the laws are that protect my rights.
I was just going to say, let me make sure people understand, because at this point I have to inject this. There are people thinking there has to be more to this story, and that is a natural reaction because we all want, it's a defensive mechanism. We all want to say, it can't have happened to you the way you're describing it, because if it did, then it could happen to me. And I don't want, it's scary for me to think this could happen to me, so I'm going to choose to think, oh, well, Brian did something wrong here. That must be what it was, and that's my defense against actually feeling vulnerable. I bet you run into that.
Yeah, all the time. I even from family members when it first, all started crashing down around me. Even my grandmother had said to me, Brian, they wouldn't have arrested you if you hadn't done something wrong.
Right.
And there's almost, you can't prove a negative. It's, how do I prove that I didn't do anything wrong? I certainly didn't hurt anyone. I have all of my ATF and FBI paperwork. I went through all the appropriate background checks to get these firearms and this ammunition, all of which is completely legal to have in the state of New Jersey. And if these things can happen, and they do happen. To people like Guy Ackerman and Shanine Allen and over 100 other people whose cases are currently being reviewed in the state of New Jersey.
And I want to make a point here. The judge refused to instruct the jury that what you had done was what is called an exemption to the law, which means what you had done was absolutely and perfectly legal, even though it was argued by your attorney, even though pretty much everybody understood that to be the case. He refused, and then the jury even came back and said, wait, Judge, what's this exemption deal? What's going on with that? And basically he said, you cannot consider that. You have to work without that. And basically told him, go back and convict this guy.
That's what happened. And it didn't just happen once. The jury came back 3 times asking the judge for the exemptions. And the judge just outright refused to let them know what the exemptions were. And it's important for people to understand that in New Jersey, there's a law in the book that says possession of firearms is illegal. And you can only legally possess them without a concealed carry permit under very strict and narrow exemptions. Some of them are within the confines of your home, or while traveling from the place of purchase to your house, or from your house to go hunting, from your house to the shooting range, or, and this is where the exemptions come in for me, when you're moving from one house to another.
Right. Okay, so let me fast forward, because you got convicted, you got sentenced, you're actually literally in prison, and then you get pardoned? What happened? What did Chris Christie do? Yeah,
so I was sentenced to 7 years in prison, and after 4 months in prison, there's a mandatory minimum of 3 years, so it would be 3 years before I would even be eligible for parole. And Governor Chris Christie, I asked him to commute my sentence and let me out so that I could fight the charges. So he gave me a commutation order, which is different from a pardon. A pardon forgives you for committing a crime, and I specifically asked him not to give me a pardon. And the appeal was mostly successful. The appellate division overturned the conviction of illegal possession of firearms and illegal possession of high-capacity magazines, but they upheld the conviction of the hollow point ammunition because unlike the firearm exemptions, there's no specific exemption that says you can take your hollow point ammunition from one house to another when you move it. So the appellate division decided that you're supposed to leave them behind in your prior residence for anybody to pick up after you leave, because it would be a felony if you had to travel with it to your new house.
So where are you now with this? Are you going to try to appeal that to another court?
I did. I appealed to the New Jersey Supreme Court and to the United States Supreme Court, and both courts decided that they did not want to hear the case. So in New Jersey, literally thousands of gun owners could unwittingly be committing felonies by transporting their hollow point ammunition.
Whoa. And you've to try to explain what happened, and I think it's important for people to understand this can and does happen to people. Like, as you say, and Evan is a friend of mine, Evan Knappen, your attorney. When we worked with the Shanine Allen case, he said, I don't have time to celebrate. He says, I've got 100 other people who are facing the exact same thing here in New Jersey. So I have to get busy.
It's the truth. We're all really happy for Shanine, but we get, I know Evan does. I send him leads every month because dozens of people email me and contact me every single month because it either happened to them or happened to a loved one, and they don't know what to do, and they're afraid to go public and how their local church or their business community might view them as somebody who's been arrested for weapons charges. Right.
All right, Brian, the book is called The Blue Tent Sky. Why The Blue Tent Sky?
If you've ever read anything by Oscar Wilde, he actually spent a couple years in prison, and he wrote a poem called The Ballad of Reading Jail. And in it, he refers to the tent of blue that prisoners call the sky. And that's really, when you're out in the prison yard and you're surrounded by these 20-foot concrete walls topped with razor wire, the only thing that you can really see that reminds you of what life was like before you were put in a cell is that tent of blue that prisoners call the sky.
Wow. Well, it is a powerful, powerful book. Well done. Getting great reviews. It's called The Blue Tent Sky. Available on Amazon. It's available. Go to our website, guntalk.com. It's on my picks there. Brian, thank you for sharing. Thank you for writing this. I am so sorry. I cannot tell you how sorry I am that you had to go through this, but perhaps through your efforts, other people will learn, and maybe we can make some changes, man.
That's right. All I can really hope that it can happen.
All right. Thank you so much. Brian Aitken, The Blue Tent Sky. This one is worth getting and reading. 866-TALK-GUN. Be right back.
The XDM 3.8 Compact from Springfield Armory is 2 guns in 1. Use as your concealed carry gun with a compact magazine and use the extended magazine for home defense. Carry 13 rounds of 9mm in the compact magazine and a whopping 19 rounds in the extended magazine. To see the entire family of Springfield Armory XDM pistols, go to SpringfieldArmory.com. That's SpringfieldArmory.com.
Brownells proudly celebrates 75 years of history and heritage as the world's first choice for firearms, accessories, ammunition, and gunsmithing tools. So whether you're a gunsmith in need of parts and supplies, a new shooter looking for the perfect holster, or a skilled competitor seeking the latest gear, Brownells has what you need. And best of all, every purchase comes with the industry's only forever satisfaction guarantee. Visit us at Brownells.com.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. Shopguntalk.com.
Gel on a holster? Wow, that sounds really comfortable.
Oh, it is comfortable. Comfort Holsters puts a luxurious gel cushion between you and your handgun for amazing comfort. Plus, their super soft suede really lets your skin breathe. Comfort Holsters come with a 6-week buyback guarantee and a lifetime warranty. Right now, get 10% off when you enter the code TOM. ComfortHolsters.com. ComfortHolsters.com.
Hi, I'm Michael Bain. You know I hate cleaning guns, so anything that makes that job faster and easier is definitely a plus. And that's where Bore Tips come in. These reusable, lint-free cleaning swabs make cleaning a breeze. And the tighter-fitting Bore Tips do a better job on barrels than cotton mops or patches. Hey, it's a dirty job. Let Bore Tips help. To find a dealer, visit boretips.com.
All right, back with the 866 Talk Gun. Rex is in Anchorage. He's on line 2. Hello, Rex. What is it you got there? Rex?
Yeah, hello.
Hey there. What kind of gun you got there?
I got an old Stevens break action single shot 12 gauge.
Okay, what do you want to do with this
gun
thing?
That I acquired with a bunch of others, and it's just sitting in the back of a closet, and that seems like kind of an ignominious end, and I'm thinking about refinishing it and keeping it, use it for an outhouse gun or, some unheated storage scenario, and I want
Okay, so you want to refinish the metal on it?
Yes.
Okay, you want to do it yourself?
I would like to. I could probably buy a new gun for the price of having a professional do it.
Yeah. A couple of thoughts here. One is, I guess how long do you want it to be able to sit without rusting is the thing. I mean, are you going to pull it out every few months and wipe it down, or you want to just leave it forever?
Well, I'd like to leave it for an extended period of time. I mean, I would imagine every gun needs to be oiled down once in a while, but, the surface of it is already rusted. I don't want to glue it. I want to, something that will last a while. I can.
Well, you could strip it down, polish it if you want to polish it, or just take steel wool to it, get everything off of it. You could coat it with some kind of just rust protective. You could use spray-on galvanize. There's home cold bluing you could use. A lot of cheap. You know what you ought to do? Here's what I do. I'd go to the Brownells website. They have every possible metal coating possible to put on guns. You could use Cerakote, something like that. But if you go to brownells.com, they will have what you're looking for. I guarantee you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Good deal. Good luck with that. Chad is on line 3. He's in Medford, Oregon. Hey, Chad.
Hey, Tom. I'm calling about the initiative coming up in Washington State and how it kind of ties into both your first guest from Iowa talking about the election coming up with legislation, also with Mr. Aitken's saga, as well as Shanine Allen, and how they've been completely railroaded in New Jersey by completely unconstitutional laws. This is the thing is when you're talking to your first guest about gun legislation being anti-gun or pro-gun, I don't really believe that there is anything such as pro-gun legislation. There is pro-gun action by a legislative body by dissolving current gun legislation, but the Second Amendment is all that people should need to stand on. Shall not be infringed, the right of the people to keep and bear arms. That's all we should really need. And somehow all these states around the country, be it on the West Coast and the East Coast, are getting away with, if you fight back against it, they're getting away with murder because they'll kill you if you resist these unconstitutional laws. And
well, Chad, it's just like Chad. You heard the previous guest. He said in the state of New Jersey, it is illegal to own a firearm, period, unless you meet one of the exemptions. But the base bottom line there that everything works from is it's illegal to own a gun in the state of New Jersey. And then we have carved out some exceptions. If you meet those, you can be exempted. But they start from the idea that you're going to have to prove that you are exempt via the law. Otherwise, it is de facto, we assume that you have broken the law if you have a gun. That kind of flies in the face of the Second Amendment.
Yeah, it sure does. I mean, and now what's going to be happening in Washington State, it looks like 594 is probably going to pass. I'm guessing 591 isn't. I hope it doesn't. We don't need any more legislation. And Alan Gottlieb has done a disservice by kind of splitting the support. What little there is, I don't know, with the $500 million that the NRA has brought in over the last probably year and a half to 2 years since after Sandy Hook. I don't know where Washington, the anti-594 people, have gotten virtually no support, maybe $400,000 from the NRA versus the Paul Allen Foundation, Moms Demand Gun Action, which is Bloomberg. There's all these big groups going up against
Chad, while you're railing against the NRA and other people, what have you done?
I do what I can. I spread the word. I open carry. I do whatever I can.
Well, yeah, that's what we all do, Chad, is we do what we can. And but I mean, I hear. Let's say you've taken shots at the NRA, you've taken shots at the Second Amendment Foundation, people who are actually working to get things done. I don't know, man. Sounds to me like taking shots from the balcony is what's going on here. Support 591, oppose 594 if you're in the state of Washington. Simple as that. 866-TALK-GUN. Be right back.
One of Talker Magazine's 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. You're listening to Gun Talk, heard every week at this time on great radio stations across America. Stay tuned. Gun Talk is coming right back. Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, we're working on the fly. I was just able to text Lisa Marie Judy. She's the match director of the first ever Lady 3-Gun National Match. And we're going to have her on in, well, an hour from now. Right now, we're going to have Lisa Marie on. I put out the call. I was talking about this incredible event, which I think is transformational. It is a pivotal point, I believe. All of these women who are at this great event in Georgia this past weekend are going to go home and they're going to say, we need more women shooting. We need to have more all-women matches. They're going to talk to their friends. They're going to bring them in. They're going to keep expanding this closed Facebook page that they have for the women who were involved in this shoot. They're going to talk it up. They're going to get their families involved. They're going to get their kids to the range. It's different, I'm telling you. And what I'd like to do, I'd like to get from any women who would like to call in, your take on an all-women shooting event. What I found was that some of the women wanted to be competitive, and some didn't really care. This was a very social event. That will surprise no one that women tend to be more social than men. That's not a surprise. But seeing it in action was really something. There was just a different vibe about the shoot. And the women, they were so excited, just ecstatic. And as I say, it was like they had this calling and they say, I don't care what it takes to get there. I must be there. I have to be there for this event. It was very cool. Very exciting stuff. I want to go down to line one, visit with Kay. She's in Toledo, Ohio. Hello, Kay.
Hi, Tom.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Did you buy a gun?
I did. I had called you several months ago asking you your advice about a Ruger Mark III or a Browning Buck Mark. And I decided to get the Ruger Mark III competition pistol.
Okay.
And I went out yesterday for the first time with it and shot about 200 rounds, and I really, really like it. So.
It's fun, isn't it?
It is a great time. We were there at the gun range for about 2 hours, and we had a very, very good time. One other thing I wanted to tell you, it was very nice to meet you at the GRPC in Chicago. That was a great.
Wasn't that a wonderful event to go to? It's hard to explain to people what happens there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really opened my eyes to something that I hadn't realized, and that was how close we are to really losing our rights. And if the gun right thing, we lose our gun rights first, then it's going to be extremely easy for other rights to be taken away from us. So I went away with that, and my husband and I are trying to get very involved with that.
Let me ask you a question. That's an interesting statement. You didn't realize how close we were to losing our gun rights. Is that because you had thought about it and just thought we were secure, or was it because you really hadn't given it that much thought?
A little bit of both. I just, as a, someone, I just believe that those are my rights, and no one's going to be taking them away from me. And I had no clue how much of a fight was going on in every state. Actually, when I started listening to, my husband's listened to your show for a long, long time. I've just started listening to it in the last 6 months or so. But I had no clue as to what the force against guns is out there.
Where you have the Bloombergs of the world, the billionaires who are throwing, like in the state of Washington right now, there are 6 billionaires throwing money $1 million at a time into this to get one little referendum passed, because they see if they can get it done there, then they already laid it out. They said, now we're going to go to Nevada next, we're going to Arizona after that, and we're going to go across the state by state by state, because we can't get it through Congress. And and we had a caller a minute ago who said, well, where's the NRA in that? People, the NRA doesn't have that kind of money. We don't have that kind of money. What the NRA takes in a whole year, Michael Bloomberg could pull out of a sock in his drawer and spend. It's that kind of money. So, okay, when you came away from this, what was your takeaway? What did you do? Did it change you in any way?
Yes, it did. It made me, I was really becoming quite complacent about voting, and was just so irritated all the time listening to the news. And then I realized that even if I am irritated and I have no time to be complacent about my rights or my children's rights or our country's rights, I have to get involved. We've joined the NRA. We've joined the Buckeye Firearms. And I'm going to start talking to people about shooting and their rights.
Wonderful. And the other thing I would suggest, now that you have your pistol, shoot it a bunch, seek out other women to go shooting with, because I just came away from this amazing all-women's 3-gun match, and it's a different vibe, it's a different culture, and they're having so much fun, all these women shooting together. I would strongly encourage you to try to pull together a group, whether it's just one other woman or a whole league, whatever you can pull together. I'm telling you, it's a powerful force. And when women get involved in gun rights, the family comes along, and now there's a completely different voice in the public talking about this.
Yeah, it sounded. I didn't know they had just women. Sometimes I think we get intimidated with men standing around. So
absolutely.
But with fellow females, we can experience things that we wouldn't try before without the fear of looking silly.
There you go. Tell you what, Kay, send me a picture of you with your gun, and if you have one of your targets, and we'll put it up on our Facebook page. Shoot it to me at tom@guntalk.com, okay?
All right. right. I will do that.
And in fact, you can go over to our Facebook page, Gun Talk Media. You can find us over there, and you can share. That's one of the things I found is that the women are a lot more willing and eager to share things. The guys just kind of shut their mouths and go shoot, and the women are saying, "Hey, let me show you this thing. Let me take a picture. Let's do this. Let's do that." It was just great. Kay, thank you so much for the call. I'm so glad that you got your pistol. Glad that you're enjoying it. You went out and did some shooting. Tell you what, when we come back, let's talk about continue this theme. Talk about taking youngsters hunting. There are some folks who've been doing that very successfully in the Lone Star State. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
Inaccurate is just plain worthless. Doesn't matter if you're shooting for a national championship or just trying to beat your friend. You need accurate ammo. Nosler's match-grade handgun ammunition delivers. You get Nosler sporting handgun and custom competition bullets in Nosler head-stamped brass, loaded to the same strict tolerances as Nosler's match-grade rifle ammo. Handgun accuracy through match-grade ammo. Available in 9mm, 40, and 45. Visit Nosler.com.
TopGunSupply.com carries a large selection of fine firearms and accessories. Get all the parts you need for your Sig Sauer, HK, and Glock pistols. Grips, screws, recoil springs, sights, barrels, magazines, holsters. The list goes on. Our knowledgeable sales staff, professional service, great prices, and super fast shipping are here to help you. Check us out today. TopGunSupply.com. TopGunSupply.com.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
There's a rise in home invasions in America, and you need to be ready. Ready to protect yourself and your family. The Bedside Backup from Crossbreed Holsters keeps your gun at your bedside, ready to go. It also folds flat for easy storage and travel. Take it with you and use with any hotel bed. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com. The Bedside Backup is not a child safety device.
The Ruger SR45, a large caliber pistol with a trim, ergonomic profile. Like the popular Ruger SR9 and SR40, the SR45 is perfectly sized to be comfortable and controllable with a slim, ergonomic grip and narrow slide. It features an adjustable 3-dot sight system, Ruger's unique reversible back strap, an ambidextrous manual safety and magazine release, and built-in Picatinny rail. The Ruger SR45, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
All right, back with you here. We're talking about taking families out shooting, and how about taking them hunting? Chris Mitchell's the director of the Texas Youth Hunting Program. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to tell you about TYHP.
Absolutely. I understand you've got some pretty good stats of what's going on there. Run through some of those for me, if you would.
Yes, sir. We've been an active program in partnership with Texas Parks and Wildlife since 1997. And since then, we've taken over 55,000 kids on outdoor experiences. Last year, we took almost 1,595 kids on 150 hunts throughout the state. And it's not just hunting. We expand on hunter education that we teach in Texas and do that in a practical application during these hunts.
Now, this is actually not a part of the Texas Parks and Wildlife. Is this a freestanding organization?
We are. Our parent organization is the Texas Wildlife Association, but we are in partnership with Texas Parks and Wildlife, who helped us start the program for the purposes of growing the next generation of hunters.
And I take it, I'm assuming you have volunteers that put this thing together.
Yes, sir. They're one of our major components. The other are landowners that donate their property for us to hunt on and fish on. And also the youth themselves. 9 to 17-year-old young people who have completed hunter education can participate in our program.
And the website where you have all the information is, I'm looking at it now, tyhp.org?
Yes, sir. And that's where young people go to sign up. Landowners can let us know if they're interested in donating their property for a hunt, and volunteers can let us know if they'd like to enjoy taking young people outdoors and getting them involved in hunting and fishing, and, of course, shooting.
Let me ask you a question. If somebody is not in Texas and they're thinking, I love the idea of this, and they're thinking, maybe we could start that here, would you be willing to talk to them and kind of give them some advice?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we've helped Oklahoma and Florida and even some folks in Mexico get similar youth hunting programs started, and I'd be glad to help anybody. And as a matter of fact, any youth in the United States can come to Texas and pay a $7 hunting fee and hunt in Texas, because we don't discriminate based on where you're from.
Wow, I did not understand that one. Now, that's cool. So any youth anywhere in the country can come to Texas with this program and get outdoors with you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. And again, let me give the website out, because a lot of people's ears just perked up. They went, ooh. So it's tyhp.org for Texas Youth Hunting Program. It's hunting, shooting, and fishing outdoor activities. You've got a multi-year track record, 55,000 youngsters out there. And, of course, the idea is let's get them started the right way, a safe way, and get them involved early, because it's a lifetime sport.
Right, and we've had some really good success. Parks and Wildlife has analyzed, people who buy their license when they participate with us, and then they go on to buy subsequent licenses, because it's anglers and hunters that pay for our wild places and wild things to enjoy.
Let me touch on that just to make sure everybody understands that. If you don't have fishermen and hunters, just a second here, you don't have the revenue for conservation, for habitat restoration and preservation. Hunters pay for conservation at a rate of roughly $3 million a day. Fishermen do the same thing. We pay this primarily through the form of excise taxes, but also through license fees. So when you're talking about, and we're not talking about just game animals, it's when you have habitat, you have all wildlife, songbirds and everything else out there, right?
Absolutely. Just as an example, Texas has 82 parks and 52 wildlife management areas. And of those 82 parks, I believe that there is one that operates in the black. The rest of them, if it were not for anglers and hunters, we wouldn't have those places, because they just don't earn enough money from the revenue taken in by visitors to operate those parks. And, of course, the wildlife management areas where we study wildlife, do demonstrations and habitat improvement. So exactly. Hunters and anglers are absolutely critical in all of us getting to enjoy our wild places and wild things.
Yeah, whether or not you're a hunter or a fisherman, if you're a bird watcher or whatever else, you depend upon, because frankly, the birders, everybody else, they don't put up the money. So, all right, let me give out the website again. It's tyhp.org, Texas Youth Hunting Program. You can contact, your information is right there on the website, Chris, so you can contact Chris right through the website, find out about getting involved in Texas, but also if you are thinking about, this would be a great thing to do in our state, Chris will help you out. Chris, thank you. I just got to send you a great big Gun Talk attaboy for what you guys are doing. It is huge.
Well, we really appreciate the opportunity to promote the program and let everybody know about it.
You bet. Well done. Great job. All right, you can still get in. 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. When we come back, and in a few minutes anyway, we're going to be talking about National Firearms Act silencers and what's going on there. Some news breaking. Also, we'll be talking about the Lady 3-Gun event. But we can get you in. 866-TALK-GUN. Got a range report? We love to get those.
Gun Talk stands for safety, personal responsibility, and common courtesy. To be a part of the show, call 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Gun Talk will be right back.
right, back with the 866 Talk Gun. David's with us out of Hayes, Kansas, on line 2. David, thanks for calling.
Yes, Tom, how are you? I have a question for a second opinion from you.
Okay.
I went hunting, not hunting, but shooting with a friend of mine. I'm looking to get a gun for home self-protection, and I shot a .357 revolver, and I believe it was a model 1911 pistol and a .45 caliber.
Okay.
And the question I have cerebral palsy on the right side, so I have limited use of the right hand, and I found the .357 much easier to use. But my question is, my friend says that the .45 has a higher capacity of rounds plus more stopping power. And, for example, I had a real hard problem sliding the rack.
Working the slide. All right, let me jump in. Here's the deal. You have a good friend who lets you shoot his guns and all that. Your friend is wrong. Just simple as that. Actually, the .357 has better stopping power than the .45 ACP does in every examination that's ever been done on it. So the .357 is the choice there. Also, here's the beautiful part about the .357 revolver. You can shoot 38 special ammo in it. And 38 special ammo is much lower recoil. It doesn't kick as much, a lot easier to handle, frankly, more fun to shoot with, to practice with. And if you're going to be shooting one-handed, a revolver where you're just pulling the trigger and you don't have to operate the slide is simply going to be a lot better for you.
Yeah, I thought that with the cerebral palsy, I get into a tense situation, the hand works even less than it normally does. So to me, it just seemed like the easiest thing possible would be the best.
Yep, I'm with you. I think a .357 Magnum revolver is a great choice. When you want to go out and shoot it and practice with it, use 38 special ammo. In fact, honestly, you could shoot 38 special ammo in it for self-defense because we've got such good ammo. Just use good expanding bullets for your self-defense ammo. You can use cheap stuff for practice, but then buy the good stuff for self-defense. Hollow point or expanding bullets would work just fine. But you know what, David? I think you got it figured out. You had the experience, and you got, I'm liking the revolver better. It seems to make more sense. I think you nailed it, Ben. I would just go with the revolver.
It just seemed to be simpler.
Yep, I'm there with you. Well done. Listen, go ahead and be safe out there, man. Thank you for the call. I got an email from Chris. He said, look, did you ever get that 7mm08 rifle for deer season? Actually, I didn't, but it just came in. It's at the dealership, but I haven't gone and picked it up yet. I got the Ruger American because I wanted to get their left-handed versions just out, and I didn't have an American. I wanted to try that for the season. He said, why a 7mm08 versus like a 308 or 38-06? Honestly, they all work just fine. I mean, literally anything from a 243 up to as big as you want to go are just fine for deer hunting. They work fine. I like the 7mm08. I like the bullet choices. Shoots flat if you need that. I probably don't where I'm going to be hunting. It has a little bit less recoil than a 308. Not a big deal. I like 7mm calibers. It is essentially a 7x57 in ballistics, all of which means absolutely nothing, really. It will work. If you shoot a deer in the right place, it will, fall down and you will have your venison for the season. But the same thing is true of a 25-06 or 257 Roberts or a 243 or whatever. Pick the caliber you like just because you like it. Use good ammo, practice with it, make sure you can hit with it, and then do what you got to do. It's not rocket science, all right? It all works. And yeah, ammo availability. When we come back, we're going to be talking about silencers and about an all-women 3-gun match.
No black helicopters here, just the facts about gun rights and gun ownership. This is Gun Talk.